Shedeur Sanders is back versus the LA Rams this Saturday. And here's what he had to say coming off of his injury, and just knowing that every opportunity, every time you show up, you got to show up with good energy and get it done. There's no excuses from the kid. And this is exactly why a lot of teams is going to regret passing on this kid. He is a class act, much like his pops. And I'm telling you, this kid is a star to make it. He just says the right things and he shows up and meets every marker. From the time he was at Jackson to Colorado, he just improves every step of the way, and that's something that you just can't hate on, man. I know it's a lot of haters and naysayers out there, but how can you continue to hate on a guy that just shows up and gets it done? So I'm gonna let y'all hear his spill on it. And like I said, man, this kid is just a class act, man. I gotta cut it out.
I always say I learn life in a different perspective, and that's why I come here. I'm happy. I always got good energy, cause I'm blessed to come out here every day. Regardless of the situation, regardless of anything, I know my time, whenever that is, I'll be ready for it, and I'm going to embrace that. But in due time, I got many things I need to fix, many things I need to work on, and I'm not oblivious to that. So all I look at it as, I'm getting more time to cook. I'm getting more time to warm up. That's all it is.
Listen to him, man. Like that's just a class act, bro. That's just a class act. The kid says all the right things. Media trained. He had cameras in his face since middle school, man. His dad is Dillon Sanders. What else did y'all expect from this boy, man? And not only is his dad Dillon Sanders, but the kid has game. The kid knows how to handle the fame. He knows how to handle what comes with it. And you just can't fight that, man. Like, as much as y'all want to keep on fighting it, he's just continuing to show up and do the work. He had a little strain, and I'm not gonna lie, I like how the Browns handled it. I know a lot of people was kind of saying that they were sabotaging him, trying to actually hold him out. But I'm happy. They had some guys that they cut right after injuries, which NFL teams do. They didn't decide to do that. They kept him around. You know what I'm saying? They let him heal back from his injury, and he will be back this Saturday. And I believe him and Dillon Gabriel will be playing this Saturday. So that's gonna be interesting to see. That's gonna be an interesting development to watch, because the QB competition is heating up, and I kind of think at this point Kenny Pickett may be out of there. I'm just being real. Came in being that second guy to Flacco, who they wanted to have as maybe some insurance. But I think when you go and draft two quarterbacks, and then the guy that you kind of wanted to have as insurance with some experience, should those two young quarterbacks just completely wet the bed in training camp, he didn't play any preseason games. So the guy that was your insurance plan really didn't get it done in the preseason games because he wasn't available for them. He was hurt. And we've seen Kenny Pickett. I don't think, he's a guy that's going to change the franchise anytime soon. So, yeah, man, I think realistically looking forward, maybe they hold him as trade bait, but I think they'll be moving on from Kenny Pickett just due to the series of events that has went on during this preseason and training camp, era. And he hasn't showed up. Like, he hasn't been available. The best availability is availability. And Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Dillon Gabriel was nicked up. Shedeur Sanders was nicked up, but they both played a preseason game. Both showed what they were able to do. I don't think neither of them had a terrible showing. Of course, I would say that Shedeur had definitely edged Dillon Gabriel. I don't even want to say edged him. It was clear who was better. I think Shedeur Sanders definitely responded a lot better when he had to improvise. I think Dillon kind of ran into trouble when he had to improvise. I think the scheme, they both played well during the scheming. I think they both play well through the system. But when it came to improvising, I think Shedeur just did a lot better than Dillon Gabriel when it came to them making decisions based on what was brought to them. You can easily see that Shedeur was more comfortable, more confident. You've seen the pick six from Dillon Gabriel. He's yet to get in the end zone. But, you know what I'm saying? He didn't look terrible, if I'm being honest. He played really good within the scheme of things until he had to improvise and make his own decisions, in my opinion. But, with Kenny Pickett not being there at all, I think Kenny Pickett kind of hurt himself, and I don't think that he is going to be on this roster by the time the season rolls out. And even if he does, I don't think we see him on the field. That they're going to go with Joe Flacco, but I think any injury should happen to Joe Flacco is going to be between one of those two rookies. And I think Shedeur showed up, more when it comes to even the rookies. I think he definitely has played better than Dillon Gabriel from what we've seen in training camp, as well as in the preseason. This game on Saturday can change things, I guess, because both of them, you'll get to see both of them in the same game. but I don't think it would change much. You know what I'm saying, unless Dillon Gabriel just goes and completely lights it up. But if I'm looking at that depth chart right now, I gotta think that you know, those QBs, those rookie QBs are gonna be at 2 and 3, with Shedeur being, you know, back up to Flacco and Dillon Gabriel being third string. And I don't think that's a bad look. Because I don't think Dillon Gabriel was, you know, high on anybody's charts leading up to the draft. He did go in the third round, but even him going in the third round, you know, I don't know. I don't know why you pick him before Shedeur, but the Browns wound up getting both of them, so, you know, we're not gonna cry over spilled milk. But yeah, man, this kid Shedeur just continues to show you why, you know, he was so talked about, why, you know, he has so much fandom, and why the media has been, you know, just circulating this kid and just completely on top of every move he makes and everything he does. And it's been this way since he was in middle school, so he's used to it, man. He has a great story coming from Jackson State, rebuilding Colorado, and the kid just builds tremendous relationships. He's a great teammate. You've seen it in Colorado. You've seen some of the things he did with using his NIL money to pay for things for people. You've seen it in what he was able to do with building that relationship and chemistry with the Heisman winner and Travis Hunter, guys like Jimmy Horn, LaJohntay Wester, who are also having really good starts to their career in their own right. So, you know, I don't think it's much that you can continue to hate on with this kid. And he just says the right things, man. Super media trained. He does have his own brand. He has his own following. And, you know, I think some people take that in a negative, but I think, you know, don't look at it that way. Like, he's like fully packaged as a young budding star already, and you know, you'll hate to miss out on that type of potential if you're any organization, especially a kid who understands it. Like, he completely understands it. He's not a flash in the pan star where he's gonna have to get used to stardom. You're gonna have to deal with the bumps and bruises that he comes with this newfound stardom. He's trained. His dad was prime time, you know what I mean? He has big brothers who, you know, want to see him succeed and can always keep him in line. And I just think it's just a perfect story and a perfect fit for him being a pro quarterback. And as you can see in the video, he says he has a lot of things to learn, you know what I'm saying? And he's not oblivious to that. And that's what you want to hear from a young guy. He's not stubborn. He's seen this from multiple different angles already because of who his dad is. And I think that's more of a plus than it is a minus. You know, I think that's more of a positive than a negative. And I think you guys got to, you know, take that into context, man. I don't even know how we get to this point where, you know, the media could continue to still spew these negative things, and the guys really carried the NFL and college football media for much of the last 2 years, you know what I'm saying? And I know that this is what some of these big companies were looking to avoid, because now you're seeing the NFL network getting condensed into ESPN, and old media platforms really kind of losing its steam when it comes to these topics, because how quick this news is able to get out, and how big of an influence these personal platforms can become. But you know, you just got to give your props to Coach Prom and his family for, you know, being ahead of the curve and seeing the transition and really embracing it, and taking ownership of their narrative within this new form of media, because I really do think that it plays a big part into the negatives that's coming with them. But I believe these guys are prepared for it, man. You know, nobody can take what God already has planned for you, and you know, they're proof of that every single day. And you know, you just got to tip your hat and salute to those guys for what they've been able to put together, man. And this kid is an outstanding football player. Like, if you just look at the numbers from which he was able to put up during, you know, the preseason while he was at Colorado, it's just historic, man. Even in training camp, some of the things that he's able to do, when you watch this kid, he just makes the right decisions at the right time. He says the right things all of the time, and you know, he just reminds you so much of his dad, and they can't miss right now. They can't miss. So trying to suppress, you know, something that God has already put his hands on, man, it's just always gonna blow over in your face, man. You've seen some of these guys in Browns media that was reluctant to, you know, embracing this young man have to eat their words, man. Tony Grossi, you seen him and Shedeur have their little moment, and you know, it almost looked like he was like, nah, I see you now, I see you. And I don't know what he was looking at before, because this kid has been the truth. He's been him. You know, he led the NCAA in completion percentage, man. Like that, like, just think about the feats that this kid is able to overcome from where he came from, media in his face since middle school, going to a HBCU with his dad, to now rebuilding Colorado into a winning team. They haven't had a winning record until those guys got there. So regardless to what you want to say, they're not a Power 5 school. They had to deal with the resources they had. They took Travis Hunter, from the HBCU with them. They bought different transfers in, and throughout all of that, they still showed up and got it done. And for him to be in the NFL now and still carrying it with so much class after all the shenanigans and dropping, which nobody saw coming, I just got to tip my hat to these guys and show them a lot of love, man, because they're really built for this. They're really built for this, and they're proving it every time they get a chance to. And big salute to the Sanders family, and big salute to Shedeur, man. Like going through this in real time and showing up and showing out every step of the way. Some people don't even get up and show up for themselves every day. So for him to be able to show up through all the scrutiny, through everything that's going on, and show up with this energy is a great thing to see from a young guy, man. You could be doing anything else in the world. You see so many of these athletes have, a certain type of ego and bravado to them, and a lot of people was trying to attach that to him. But this kid is super classy, man. Got a great head on his shoulders, and I just got to salute to him and his family, man. They raised a bright young man, and he just knows what to do, knows what to say, and most importantly, he shows up. He gets the job done. And that's it. We're gonna wrap it up for this one, but he will be back on Saturday, and we will be covering that. Stay tuned for more videos. And it is your boy Cheekmula. Welcome to the Moolah verse. Peace.